Hey there, coding enthusiasts. Welcome back to Polymath Nation, where we make coding simple, fun, and impactful. Today, we are diving into some powerful array methods in JavaScript: map, filter, and reduce. These are the tools every JavaScript developer needs in their toolkit. Let's get started. I can't wait.
So let's quickly paste in some boilerplate to avoid wasting so much time. So I've pasted in this boilerplate. Now look at, we've created a variable called numbers, and then we created another variable called double. So this variable numbers is an array that takes in some element. So what double does here is basically we are basically multiplying everything in the array by 2. So that is what you can do with um, the map function. You It's basically looping through the element in a list and performing a certain task.
Next up is the filter. Now, the filter method, what that does is it takes an array, and then this allow you to pick out the element you want from an array. Now let's quickly paste in this code snippet to see that in action. Now we have this variable called numbers. Now let's say we want to pick out all the even number from this variable called numbers. Now we apply the filter method to the array, and then we create another variable called none. So we divide, see. So now we use the modular operator to see if this actually is an even number. So whichever element that is not an even number is going to be filtered out, so returning only the even number. So let's quickly run that to see that in action. See, now we have just 4 and 3, out of how many element? 6 element, 5 element roughly. So that is how you use the. Now there are several use cases for this filter method. I'm only going through the basics. This actually is very simple, so you can use it for several things. All right, guys, now let's move on to the last, um the reduce. The reduce is like the Swiss army knife of array method. It takes an array and reduces it down to a single value.
So now here is the structure of, let's create a variable first, numbers equal to an array with some element 3, 4, and 5. Now let's create constant. Let's call the sum. Now here's going to be the structure of bastard. So let me just quickly go to the setting and change this real quick. Alright guys, now here is the structure of the reduce method. Now it takes in a function and an initial value. Now this 0 right here is the initial value of the accumulator. Now the accumulator is basically the result of the previous iteration. Imagine we have this list right here. This accumulator is the initial value of
the 0 is the initial value of the accumulator. Why the current item here is the current item on the array, which is being yes, is the current item on the array. So the index is the index of the current item, and then the array is the original array, the existing array, this array right here. So is the array here. So now let's quickly do a little bit of operation with this function, with the reduce method. Now what we want to do is that we want to sum everything in the array. We want to sum up all the element of the array to return a single value. Sorry, accumulator should be accumulator plus current. Now if we are correct, let's call this function right now console.log, sorry, console.log sum. Now if we are correct, we are supposed to get 16. If we are 15 rather. Now you see we have 15. So what this code basically does is that it takes the first element. Now we've set the accumulator value to 0, the initial accumulator value to 0. So 0 plus 1 is equal to 1, and then 1. Now this 1 becomes the accumulator value because it is the result of the previous iteration. On the next iteration, the 1 becomes the initial value of the accumulator. So this becomes 1 plus 2, which will be 3, and then 3, and so on and so forth. So if you add this up, you are going to notice that the result is going to be 15. So there are a lot of things you can do with this reduce function. You might return you might want to return a JavaScript object. There are a lot of things you can do with the reduce function, with the reduce method rather. So you want to use the map method to transform data, create a new array by applying the function to each element in the original array. Like for instance, you might want to use it to format data for display, like extract names from a list. So you might use it in converting units, for example dollar to euros. Now the filter, you can use it the filter basically use it to create a new array with only elements that pass a specific condition. Filtering search result, say you can use it to filter search result. You can use it to remove invalid data, exclude null or undefined values from an array. So the reduce function also we've just talked about reduces an array to a single value by applying a function iteratively. You might want to count occurrence of objects in an array. You might want to group data, like you might want to group student by grade. There's a whole lot of things you can do with this map function and reduce method. So I think that is pretty much it for this one, guys. I'll call it a wrap for the map filter and reduce function. These methods are incredibly useful for manipulating arrays, and mastering them will make your JavaScript skills shine. Got any question or cool use cases? Drop them in the comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coding tips and tricks. Until next time, happy coding, guys.